In this video, we'll create a Unity project that we'll use across rest of the tutorial. Our objectives will be to start a new project from within the Unity Hub, launch the Unity editor, and configure the editor. Let's get started. Okay, let's start by opening Unity Hub if you don't already have it open. Make sure you're in the project section by selecting projects in the Hub menu. You can see right now I have no projects. Your projects will show up here, any that you have used and opened in Unity Hub. But of course, right now we want to create a new project. So over where it says New, select the drop-down arrow. And this will show all the versions of Unity that you have installed in Unity Hub. And of course, I'm going to select this version because I've only got one installed. And this will start to set up a new project using that version of Unity. If you just click the New button, it will pick the latest version that you have installed. So if you have multiple versions installed, you should use the little drop-down menu. So to create a new project window comes up. From here, you can select your desired template. Depending on how you installed Unity, you may have more or less templates shown here. For the projects in this course, we will just be selecting either the 2D or 3D templates. For this project, however, make sure to select the 3D template because we're going to create a 3D project. Go ahead and fill in the project name. I'm going to call this Solar System. And notice the location that the project will be installed in. If you don't like that location, you can, of course, click the ... here and use the file system to select where you want the projects. Then click the Create button to create your project and launch the Unity editor. This will bring up the standard Unity interface. I'm going to go ahead and full screen it. The Unity editor looks nearly identical on both the Windows and Mac versions of Unity. I'll be recording on either platform throughout the course. If there is something that varies across platforms, I'll try to make note of it. The first time I open Unity, though, I like to configure my workspace. What you see now is the standard or default layout that comes with Unity. I'm actually not a big fan of this layout unless I'm working on a very small monitor. But if you have a decent sized monitor or multiple monitors, I do recommend changing the layout. As you work with Unity, you'll start to figure out what you like and what you don't like, and you can customize the layout as you see fit. So under the Window menu, I'm going to go ahead down to Layouts, and I'm going to choose the 2x3 layout. And once again, I'll need to full screen this again. In Unity, there's always multiple ways of doing things. So over here, there's also an option where you can see it says 2x3. And if I click the little down arrow here, I can select different layouts. So I can go back to the default layout, or I can go to the 2x3 again. As it turns out, the entire Unity environment is very customizable. So you can roll your mouse between panes, and adjust the size of things like this. Any tabs that come up, you can actually rip them off and move them around or make them their own window, like I've done here. And I can grab that project tab and then, replace it. And overall, just customize the environment as you see fit. Of course, if you don't like what you've done, you could go back and reselect, for example, 2x3, and it will snap back to the original layout. One other change that I like to make is to change the layout of the projects panel right here where it says projects. You can see there's a 2-column layout here, and I like to switch this to the 1-column layout. You can do this by selecting the little ... here, which will do a little drop-down menu, and I'm going to select 1-column layout. There's advantages and disadvantages of each of the layouts here. I personally like the 1-column layout because I find it easier to navigate through the project files. Okay, I have the Unity editor configured the way I like it. As you work with Unity, feel free to customize your editor and find a layout that works for you.